This video is part of the EcoQuip 2 Dual-Line Vapor Abrasive Blast System video series. This video covers operation. We will demonstrate the following operational steps: adjusting blast pressure, wetting down internal water lines, adjusting abrasive media, replenishing media, using the wash feature, putting the system in standby. Before you start blasting, make sure you've completed the setup procedure and that your EcoQuip 2 is loaded with water and abrasive, and your pot is pressurized. First, we'll start with adjusting blast pressure. Before you start blasting, adjust the blast pressure to make sure it meets your application needs. You may need to blast some test samples to determine your optimal blast pressure. Keep in mind that the blast air pressure will be the same for both air nozzles. To adjust the blast pressure, trigger blast control switch 1 and adjust the blast air regulator until you reach your desired pressure. Disengage blast control switch 1. Now that you adjusted blast pressure, you need to make sure the internal water lines are wet. The dual-line system comes from the factory with all of the water lines dry. It is important that you fill these lines with water before you adjust abrasive media so media does not get trapped in the water lines. Turn the selector valve to wash. Trigger both blast control switches 1 and 2 for at least 10 seconds to allow the washdown lines to fill with water. Disengage blast control switches 1 and 2. Turn the selector valve to blast. Open water dose metering valves 1 and 2. Trigger both blast control switches 1 and 2 for at least 10 seconds to allow the washdown lines to fill with water. Disengage blast control switches 1 and 2. Shut water dose metering valves 1 and 2. Now that your internal water lines are wet, set the abrasive media. Start by opening the Nozzle 1 abrasive media ball valve and then trigger Nozzle 1. Turn on the media track display and slowly adjust the Nozzle 1 abrasive meter valve until you reach the desired flow of abrasive media. It may take a minute or two for the abrasive to reach the nozzle. Test the abrasive flow on a test sample first. Always start as gently as possible and increase your blast pressure to clean without damaging the substrate. To set the optimal set point for the abrasive metering valve and media track CPM value, refer to the general application guides in the EcoQuip 2 Dual-Line Manual for the set points that best meet your application needs. If you're an inexperienced user, select a blast pressure near the low end of the highlighted range. Increase the blast pressure and CPM until the desired profile and removal rate are achieved. When you're done setting Nozzle 1, disengage the trigger and wait 5 seconds for the pot to repressurize. Repeat this process for Nozzle 2 by triggering Nozzle 2. Make sure the flow rate shown on media track matches the flow rate for Nozzle 1. Now that your blast pressure is set, your internal water lines are wet, and you set the amount of media, you are ready to blast. When you start running low on media, refill the pot. First, make sure the pot seal plunger is in the down position. If it's in the up position, follow the pressure relief procedure. Next, open the pot dump valve. Make sure the pump selector is still set to off and the rinse and abrasive ball valves are closed. Then open the quick drain valve. When water stops flowing from the quick drain valve, about half of the water has been drained from the pot. Then, close the quick drain valve. Now you can add more abrasive to the pot. Be sure to wear the necessary safety gear for your media. The media should be a few inches below the pot seal plunger so the plunger can seal. Water can rise above plunger, but not abrasive. Use the wash feature to rinse a surface with water only. To use this feature, close the abrasive ball valves and turn the selector valve to wash. Blast for 1 or 2 minutes on test material until abrasive is cleared from the hoses. Now you can rinse the surface without applying more abrasive. Put the system in standby whenever you need to stop blasting for a short time. This allows you to start again quickly when you're ready. To switch to standby, close the abrasive ball valves and turn the selector valve to off. Open the pot dump valve until the pot pressure reads 0. For overnight or longer term shutdown, move on to the shutdown video.